This is the first sessions of Technive at 75. Of in this new year, the first session of that, and the fifth sessions of. So I think today is the celebrations of the success of the NIF, National Innovation Foundations, how they have strengthened the need of the community through the local innovations, and as we have seen here, like we have interacted with these three, the communities from Nagaland, like and also from this is from Manipur, and also from Chhattisgarh. And also, like one thing I just want to mention here, today is the Swami Vivekananda's birthday of 159th birthday, and National Youth Day also. Probably, Swami Vivekananda would be really very happy to see a young IPS officer of the country is doing a different type of policing for the young, the district authority of a young district in, the Nagaland, and she is, doing the policing the traditional way of, not with the lathi, but with the danda of development. And that's a very unique experience. What we have in this, the model, what we are looking for, the Indian model of the sustainable development, which will be driven from the bottom, from the like within the community. And in order to develop this model, like as you know, like that we what we are trying to look it into this, the local level innovation systems to link with the formal innovation system or the national innovation system. And to discuss with that in this third sessions, we have like with us the two Padma Shris, Padma Shri Professor Anil Gupta. And I think Professor Anil Gupta, though he doesn't need any the introduction, but the Professor Anil Gupta is almost the synonymous with the formalizations of the India's the grassroots innovation movement. And he is not only the foundation of the Honeybee Network, he is the initiators of the National Innovation Foundation, where he's currently the executive vice chair. And also, he was a full-time professor in the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, where he is superannuated in 2017, and was awarded a Padma Bhushan for his contributions to the management educations. And also with us, Padma Shri Nandarao B. Marak, who is a 61-year-old pioneering farmer from the West Garo Hills, who first planted the Karimunda variety of the black pepper, which produces the unique the black peppers there. And he began a farming with an investment of the rupees 10,000, and which has created a huge return by going to this organic farming. And as you know, that the currently government is giving the more focus on this organic farming. So with us, Padma Shri Nandarao B. Marek, and also with us, Dr. Vivek Kumar, the scientist and regional coordinator of the Eastern region of NIF, and Dr. Nitin Maurya, the scientist and regional coordinator of Northeastern region of NIF. And also, I would like to, I don't know whether Dr. Pritpal Kaur is there. I would like to invite her, and we will discuss here that how we have heard about the strength of the local innovation, how these local innovations can be linked with the national innovation systems, and to develop a unique, the Indian model. And I think with us, there is no other, the best persons available, not in India, but in the world, Professor Anil Gupta. And I would like to start with Professor Anil Gupta's directions. Professor Gupta, this Technive, what we have started Technive at the 75 as a part of the Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav. It's not about the story of the technology. It's all about the story of the techno empowerment, what has happened, at the grassroots level. We have seen the technology has a role of bringing the equity, and the distance of the equity has been brought in the Nagaland and the distant town when the science and technological interventions through NIF, through Dr. Kaur has gone to the community, and they are now making the changes. The woman empowerment in the true way is not in the definitions, but in the true way it's taking place. So what is your like the margdarshans? I know, like, you are the authority on this subject, but how we can link this the grassroots level innovation systems with the formal national innovation systems, and can develop a unique Indian model, and can showcase what I always believe, like, we can really give the world the sustainable development model in that sense. Professor Gupta, please. Sir, I think you have to unmute, sir. You have to unmute. It is.
So thank you so much. I said it is very nice to connect again after several years. Thank you. And I heard Kinkini Das Gupta's wonderful discussion with the innovators, which was very, very engaging and very insightful. She was trying to bring out the best among the people who she was talking to, and I appreciate that as well. You might be happy to know that yesterday there was a very interesting article by Shobita Parthasarathy, who is a professor at Wisconsin, suggesting to US government that they need to set up an organization like National Innovation Foundation. Now, this is really very gratifying for me to hear that one of the Makkah of innovations, so far as the large corporate innovations is concerned, is realizing that they have missed something fundamental in their country. And this is a voice which is coming out very forcefully. Shobita Parthasarathy's article you will easily find on the net. I have also tweeted it, and you will be able to find this is very interesting. Now, having said that, let me also mention that India is the only country where the national innovation system includes the grassroots innovation. If you look at the science, technology, innovation policy draft, which is there on the site of your ministry, it has highlighted in a very significant way the role of grassroots innovations in empowering, in engaging, and in learning, linking, and leveraging, if I use that word, the phrase, for the ideas of common people. But the fact remains that the point that you indicated, that how do we link formal R&D system with the grassroots innovation system? So there were three things that we had tried, but they need to get more momentum. We had, first of all, signed an MOU between NIF and CSIR, NIF and ICMR, NIF and ICAR. There were three MOUs which were signed, essentially to build this bridge that you're talking about. But by MOUs alone, you cannot build the bridge. So you need to work together with the scientists and help them understand that their good ideas can come from anywhere, and particularly from grassroots. One of the most creditable things that I would say Honeybee Network can take pride over the last 35 years is that not one scientist from the formal sector charged for his or her time while validating or value-adding in the grassroots innovation. That's something we are very proud of. I think the scientists of this country deserve full appreciation and grateful thanks and appreciation from the network as well as from the NIF, that they did not charge for their time. In many cases, they did not charge even for consumables. So one positive thing that Indian model offers is that large number of almost every scientist in public or private sector has been willing to help in this cause, but it has not yet become part of the institutionalized system. So what are the four things that we can do to institutionalize? One, every student should generally they take a project. Engineering students take a final year project, agriculture students do Ravi program. Can they include in the curriculum working on at least one unmet need and one innovation during their curriculum of undergraduate or postgraduate education? So this is one thing that if it is incorporated as a essential step of learning for the young people, and very rightly you mentioned today Vivekananda's birthday. You know what he had said? He said, you just take one idea, breathe it, live it, dream it, think it. All the time, if you are obsessed with that idea, you can make a difference. And I think this time has come when our young people should take one innovation and one unmet need and try to pursue that passionately. Second thing that we can do is that I was teaching a course to CSIR through ACSIR about 350 PhD students in one batch, 250 in another batch, all CSIR labs. And I was trying to help them to identify the unmet need in their domain and try to see whether they can address it. Now, there are a lot of challenges in Northeast. That the logistical challenges there, the challenge of shelf life. Our friend was mentioning that many times you have apple, but you logistics transportation is not possible. Then how do you create the market for them? So how do we increase shelf life of fruits and vegetable is a very, very important top level problem of Northeast. And we need to really give it priority in the formal sector. Various labs must be given a challenge award. So third thing is issue a challenge award. Gandhiji had announced in 1929, 24th July 1929, he announced an award of 7,700 pounds, which was 1 lakh at that time. Today will be 10 crore to redesign the spinning wheel. And the peti charkha, the box spinning wheel that you had, which Gandhiji used in 1931 in Yarwada jail, where you move it horizontally and spin the yarn. Now, that came out of this process. So, can't we announce competition for one unmet need or one challenge of grassroots communities in each of the northeastern district, in each of the north district block, so that in time-bound manner, solutions can come either from grassroots or from formal sector. But there should be attractive award, maybe 20 lakh, maybe 50 lakh, because that solution will help to boost the economy of the region. Fourth point is that and this is where this is extremely important, that risk capital. There is when the logistics are poor, the terrain is very difficult, the failure rate will also be very high. It is admirable what NIF has done with the apple variety. I mean, and Manipur has come up on the apple map of the country, which was not thinkable earlier. Now, if that has happened because of the thousands of saplings that have been distributed, surely some would have died or some will die. Now, the question is, when a private entrepreneur comes in the market and if he gives them, he has to have ability to absorb the losses. He has to absorb the losses in transportation, losses in the viability, and losses in the entire value chain. So we need to have risk fund which will absorb the losses of the entrepreneur, and we should know that out of 100, maybe 70 will fail, but 30 might succeed, 20 might succeed, and that kind of high failure rate will mean that we are really genuinely taking risk. Lastly, I would say that we should also try that and understand that in many states of Northeast, particularly Nagaland, Manipur, and many others, women play a very important role. If you go to vegetable market in Manipur, you will find all the shopkeepers there, all these vendors, sellers are women. I have seen it myself. And similarly, there are many others states where women's role is very important. Nagaland, you have Mothers Organization, which is very powerful and very strong. But we have not given them enough entrepreneurial support as they deserve. And I think it will be useful if we can also provide special support for women enterprises, women entrepreneurs, who can therefore be encouraged to take more risk than what is conventionally possible given their limited means. And we should try to provide them logistical support so they can also try to get full benefit of that. I think with some of these suggestions, we will be able to galvanize the economy of Northeast much better than what we have done so far. But what NIF has done is to break the ground, to demonstrate that there are a large number of innovations in the region. We have done Shodh Yatras in all the states of Northeast, and I can say with pride that we have discovered so many innovations in the process. I remember in Nagaland, there was a cardamom dryer, a big cardamom dryer, and he was facing a lot of difficulty in distributing heat uniformly in the entire chamber. Now, that was a challenge where formal system can help. Scientists who are expert in dynamic combustion physics can help them to make sure what kind of channel they should use so that the heat is distributed uniformly. So there are some very precise challenge. There are specific diseases in orange. There are specific diseases in cardamom and some other crops which are affecting the region, for which solution has to be found and scientists have to be engaged with. So, and the wine making is a very recent enterprise which is emerging in Mizoram and many other states, good quality red wine is being made there, but that can be done better. So we need enology lab. There is no enology department in the entire bioscience system of Northeast. So we need to create that enology lab if we really want wine industry to pick up in Northeast. So there are many such areas where new S&T investments are called for, and I'm sure Dr. Datta, under your leadership, this program that is connecting society and science will reach new heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. I think like what you proposed, like many of them, like as you are like very unique and really like we need to inculcate it into our program level in order to do that. And one thing what you have they indicated, and I believe that that is the way the Indian science and technology research development needs to reorient, because generally our research and development is more oriented towards the global knowledge development. But really the time has come now, our problem solutions towards our the large the formal R&D sector needs to be oriented. And that's one of the like the objective of this the science society setu what we are trying to build up, that as you told that vinology, like really that there is a huge opportunity in that, like similarly like we know in our some of the tribals there are unique diseases, like that, and we need to have an research like towards that. Similarly even towards like we are discussing it about the compost and these things, but there is a science behind it how you can improve it. And that's the way what you were saying. I think the my idea is, as you were saying, the entrepreneurship should be developed among these people, because people in general in the Northeast are entrepreneurial, especially the women. Can we have like that type of community level laboratory which can standardize the products and can make it market, because the market has its own language, it needs standardization, they have to compete. Because most of the cases what we have seen, like from my experience of seed, what we are seeing, we are supporting a lot of productizations, and we are very happy that at the local level they are getting engaged. But the moment I go into the the large market, they are not in the the shelf. They are basically the somebody else is dominating. Unless and until we can make them compatible to be in the shelf, like we cannot say that we are. And I see the science and technology research, science and technology translation, entrepreneurships as an the total value chain which needs to be looked at in a totality, and has to convert into our language related in the different the different parts of of India, because our uniqueness is that we have so much of the spatial variations. And other thing, Professor Gupta, probably like this is, I just want your suggestions on that. You see, like till now in our country, whatever the classifications we have made in terms of these resources are all supply driven. Like we have agroecological zones, we have land use, land cover copy. Time has come, probably like now we need in land our livelihood system mapping, which is because which will give you the demand situations. Like suppose madam like Dr. Kaur is doing so much of good things, but at a like when you do at an individual level, we cannot upscale it, because we do not have a system level scaling up, and that can be done only when we know the demand scenario at a system level. So like my idea is that we should have also start a national level, the livelihood system mapping, which identify the weakest link of the livelihood and the strongest link of the livelihood. Because the total planning is going on not based on a very systemic basis, and that should be the basis of the India model, like which will give us to upscale and give it to the the nations. Probably like I will request you like your comment whether this thinking is right or not from your the plethora of experience you have.
You're very right that we need to map not just the livelihood that exist, but a livelihood that are possible. Now, how do we
Potentials.
map the livelihood that are possible? By looking at three things: underutilized resources, unutilized resources, and excessively utilized resources. Excessively utilized resources will lead to extinction, will lead to biodiversity loss. Underutilized resources mean that we have enough resources. For example, in Manipur, you have sufficient, a large amount of lemongrass growing in the forest. Nobody uses it. Similarly, in different parts of Northeast, you have different medicinal plant, different. I mean, Dr. Vivek can elaborate that because he has been with many of the Shodhyatras. Our next Shodhyatra is going to be in West Sikkim. So, underutilized biodiversity can be optimally utilized and value can be added to that. And third is, of course, unutilized. There are a lot of plants which have been used for healing purposes, for spices. There are tubers. There is a very interesting concept in Western Sikkim, Lum district, called as pocket wine. Now, this is a tuber which gets fermented and has a little bit of alcohol in it, which then people keep in their pockets when they get tired. They eat that and that get a little bit of energy flow. So there are very interesting, novel, unheard of processes in the food and beverages sector, and particularly fermented food sector. Northeast has tremendous richness in fermented food sector. Now, can that be dried? Can we have dryer and can we then process them so that there can be a international market, not just national market? So to do this all, what you said earlier is very relevant, which is to have mobile labs. We need to have mobile labs which will do testing, characterization. See, there are so many tubers and other plants which have never been characterized properly. And with the result that if you just take the case of flaxseed used to sell 100 rupees a quintal. Now it sells 100 rupees for 100 gram. Why? Because it was found to be a very good source of omega 3 and 6 fatty acid. And vegetarians are short of it, so therefore it became a functional food. Now, nothing has been done. Same product, same flaxseed. Just by characterization, we have added value. Now, there is a huge scope of characterization of indigenous fruits, vegetables, and converting indigenous knowledge into the scientific knowledge by using this facility. So I would strongly urge that there is a need for creating a network of labs, both fixed and mobile. Mobile are more important. They can go to communities, take up the local biodiversity, do the analysis there, and then move to the next place, whichever are accessible at least. So that would be very important. Similarly, we need to have mobile workshops also. We have been discussing that earlier in webinar, that not everybody can afford to have fabrication facilities. So maybe when a cluster of innovators pile up their demand, they can requisite a lab and their workshop will go there for a week or 10 days, and then they can do all their prototyping and other things there. So we need to really create mobile facilities if we want to unleash the characterization and analysis of the biodiversity-based entrepreneurial possibilities, and mechanical and other innovation, electronic innovations that are possible. Nitin will tell you that Anant Tadar, a student we met in Arunachal Pradesh, had developed goggles for the blind so that they can sense obstacles in a very remote area of Arunachal Pradesh where he would not have found any electronic part or anything. So there are genius like that in the region. There are tremendously rich, knowledge-rich people in this region, but they have not got sufficient guidance. In fact, Anand's picture and his innovation was put on the UNICEF's page in New York. They had appreciated so much. So I would say that there is a potential in this region. A lot of innovators exist, innovative ideas exist. And with these mobile facilities that you mentioned earlier, I have no doubt will give a fillip to the momentum, will give the momentum to this area in terms of developing new livelihood opportunities.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. It's always been, like the encouraging and the privilege, like to listen to the plethora of this experience from which, like, even a small drop of it is a new seed for our thinkings, and I think to take it forward. So in order to take this, this discussion forward, how to nurture that and link this local level innovations along with the formal, the national innovations. I would request Padma Shri Nandarao B. Marak, like, who is a practitioner, who has really, like, practitioners in the West Garo Hills, and then first time, the planted the Caribunta variety of the black pepper, and whether Marakji is here. Kinkiniji, can you see Marakji here?
Yes, sir, he is joining.
Yes, sir. Okay. So probably, like, what we are discussing here with Professor Gupta, I will try to get it from him that what type of the the formal sectors like the collaborations he thinks. Like I find like there are a lot of the infrastructure in the research infrastructures development which is pertinent to that, because Atmanirbhar Bharat is not only the physical infrastructure. You have to strengthen the knowledge infrastructures. Unless and until you do the knowledge infrastructure and strengthen the entrepreneurships, the the enthusiasm of the people with the the knowledge system or its knowledge infrastructure development. This we like as our honorable prime minister say, we have to be Vishwaguru. India's like the whole world looks into India from a different perspective, but India has to convert it really. If you want to that Vishwaguru, we have to bring the advantage of the our the scientific infrastructures to the real at the the farm level and the farm gate level. What the Atmanirbhar Bharat this system is talking about.
Dr. Vivek Kumar.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And so basically this session, as you have heard, Dr. Datta, that we basically would like to discuss how to strengthen and nurture the local innovation. So since you're working with the northeastern region, in the North Indian region, we would like to know, and we have heard the community groups and change makers, how they have been benefited through your support and through your intervention. Just one before, we would like to hear your experiences, your kind of the insights in the whole efforts of going around. And another thing is that how to prepare the communities for technological absorption. That we would like to listen from you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Doctor, basically, I am based at Bhubaneswar, and I am taking care of Eastern. Yeah. Okay, no problem.
My apologies.
So eastern parts of India.
Fine.
Whatever the technologies we have scouted. So I'll just discuss two main things. One is, as Professor Gupta sir has already suggested, to identify the unmet needs also. So we, when we are doing for the scouting and documentation or for the dissemination of the innovations, we are always involving our local stakeholders, and as well as our officials like forest departments, other departments and all. So while doing one survey with the forest department team, we went to one village, one forest division, where we had a discussion with them. So what are the problems they are facing, the local tribal peoples, and what to reduce their drudgery, whatever they are doing, they are collecting the non-timber forest products, and then converting, then they are selling into the market as a raw material, so they are getting a very less amount and all. So while coming back, we had our interaction with our innovators. So this is a problems, or this is some issues which we have flagged to our innovators, that we are looking for some solutions for the decorticating machines. So we have some Chiblik marabellans and all. We have to decorticate them before making a trifla and all. So like that, so we had an interaction with our innovators. Then we come up. So one innovator has come up with this technology, and later on with the testing and all, our engineering department and engineering team and all. So this technology we again give back for the user feedback to this community group, tribal groups, as well as to the other state level testing machinery also. So once we got it good enough, then we had some further value addition into that. And now this technology is very useful for the decorticating these units and all, and has been already distributed. Now this technology has already been transferred to the one company, and now the innovator is also getting the benefit, as well as this is into the market also. So this is the way where we have to involve individuals or institutions at every level. It is not only that one the networking is very much important in that. The one today what our nature group has come up today has presented about this our innovation on leaf grinding machine. So with this leaf grinding machine, how we identify this, I just come back to that first on that, then I'll come back to the what interventions we have done in that. So we in MOU with the agriculture department, and with the help of agriculture department, we had a discussion, and they said, why not we can have a program or a competition for the innovations in agriculture throughout the state. So with their support and on, NIF and Agriculture Department has already had an MOU, and we had launched this program, and so far we have successful 2 competitions. And in one competition, each and every, so we did what we did, we had an appreciation at district level as well as the state level also. So around 100 innovators have been facilitated at the district as well as state level, and potential innovations we have taken for the user feedback as well as the value addition and as well as the patent filing. Among them, there is one innovation which we got from our Odisha, one of the district of Odisha, is about the leaf grinding machine. So when my team is visiting this is scouting for the scouting and documentation purpose in Chhattisgarh, in Bilaspur. So we came to had an interaction with the forest department, and then they said there is a one organization, Nature Bodies, who is also doing this type of work, because so you can help, you can take the help for the scouting activities to had a local interaction with them. And then while doing the scouting activities with them, then we came to know about that they are also doing also into the other activities as well, like that they are preparing this menus and all. So then we visited their facility. We saw that yes, they are doing it manually. So as Sunita ma'am has already told you about that, in the free time, the women used to come to her, and then they are involving only 1 or 2 hours. And that whatever now they are selling 200 packets in a week, what earlier was only 5 or 6, 7 packets in a week, because it involves all the, you have to crush down the, dry the leaves, then you have to crush the leaves, then again you have to put into the pit and all the, so the week's process has been reduced into the hours. So when we had a discussion with them, then we said, okay, can you try to our innovation which we have scouted from one in Odisha. So and during that time also pandemic was there, so we had a we thought how to take it. Then we thought, why not we can give a training to the virtually also. So what we did, we called our innovator and we asked them also to have a virtual, because that was the first experience. So we asked them to have one mechanic also. So because we always believe that if we just give a simple demo about how this machine works, is if any something drawback or something, some breakdown and all, then they may not be in a position to manage it. So our innovator at our office and with there also, so we started with the all operational manual first. How you can, whatever the breakdowns and whatever the things, you can take it, and then what easily you can replace or you can rectify it. Then come to the next process about the processing of these products or the leaves, how you can do, what are the pros and cons, what are the things can be taken care while doing this out. So this way we started this, and then initially when they started working also, we had a watch with them. We had a through 3 rounds of this video demonstration and discussion, and then it goes on. Now you can, she has already told you about that, in a 1 or 2 hours work for individual lady, they are getting around 500 rupees, 400 to 500 rupees. And now they are also getting in touch with the forest department, where the forest nurseries and all, they are also maybe are in a position to get the orders also. So there are 2-3 things are very much important as the identification of this, as sir also mentioned about the unmet needs. So in that also what we did, we also started our local networking or with the institutions and all. And for that also the scouting process, we also started with the internship programs also with the colleges and institutes also. So why not, why the internship for only for the lab work, only for the value addition work? Why not for the scouting? Whenever you are going in a field, you can also identify you can also meet with the local peoples if they have come up some innovations or not. So we have also in a way, so we are trying to get the information from not from we are giving, as well as also we are taking the information from them also, whether these can also be developed, that will be taken care by our engineering department to further value add, and whatever, if any local solution will be again give back to them. So these are the things which we are trying to have. So this is like in a simple way, we are trying to put our interventions, and with the support of local stakeholders as well as institutions and organizations, we are trying to have our interventions there. Nitin is basically, he is leading our dissemination department. So he will tell you all in detail other programs which we have taken care in the other parts of India. Thank you so much.
Dr.
Yeah,
Dr. Vivek, yeah, I'm sorry because I got disconnected because of the the connection issues. I reconnected it. One thing I just want to ask, like this is what we have faced, like as from the seed divisions we are trying to develop this science and society Setu. Generally, from the grassroots level, people are the real stakeholders, so they have a huge interest in getting linked up with the mainstream, the innovation and the knowledge system. But if you see in our so-called the main innovation system or the institutional or the knowledge organizations, mostly they find more the reward in alignment with the global knowledge system rather than that our the local innovation system. Is like, what is your experience in this the directions? What is our experience, whether that is true, because you are the people really working from the like going to the field, doing the scouting and in the linking, and in that context, whether you feel like this our experience of this, the the non-linkages or the non-interest from the institutions or the knowledge institutions into the local innovations, linking with the local innovations, is like, is it right? And if it is right, then what's the way out, like from your experience, to address like this linkage?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. To some extent, it is yes. We can say like that, because some of the times they are not going to the you can say into the deep into enough, or did not have the partnership with the local partners. If they develop a synergy, it is not necessary that every institute used to do each and every activity. So there is a need of a synergy in a work, that it should not be overlapped, but it should add value to their other works also. So that is the way where we can have a more better understanding and go into the deep. As well as also, whenever you are going to implement any of the technology, what I feel, we should also learn about the local perspective of that also. Whether anyone or any other department have already applied that technologies or not. If they have, then what are the drawbacks? Why it has not been done? Why it has failed? I'll just give you another example. What we did in one of the remote district of Chhattisgarh. In Sarguja district, we had a discussion with the forest department, where we came to know about the tribal communities. They are working in because there is a sal dominant forest is there. So they are trying to make plates of sal leaves and all. So while discussing, we had an interaction with them. Then they said, yes, there is a one machine given by some company, but it is not working. So before implementing or before installing our machine with the support of forest department, what we did, we try to had an interaction with the community people, to the other local peoples, why that machine is not working, what are the problems, so then we realized that and whatever the challenges in that machine, before giving our machine, we had already sort out all these issues, and then we gave that machine to them, and now it is working well. So that is the essence. A crux is important. So we have to be very before implementing anything. We have to be ready with all our homework before going to the field. Your voice is actually, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Vivek, Dr. Vivek Kumar. I will go to now, Dr. Nitin Moria, like one of your other colleague, like who are involved in this movement. Dr. Nitin, like can you see Dr. Nitin Moria? Yeah, yes, Dr. Nitin. First of all, like congratulations to you, like for this wonderful work what you people do, like from the field. And since this third, the sessions we are trying to have this. Trying to explore this cross-bridge collaboration to strengthen the linkage between the local level innovations and the national level innovation system. So I mean, like from your experience, because you work on the field and you come from the formal the innovation system. So what are the real challenges you feel, and that how like what are your suggestions that how we can really overcome it? Like some of the good examples we have seen here in like the Dr. Pritpal Kaur, like she's a real bridge like between this the two system as well as the administrations. So Dr. Nitin, like your view on this.
Thank you so much, sir. Before I answer your question, since we are talking about NIF, let me just mention about NIF for the benefit of viewers who don't know about us. So NIF, National Innovation Foundation, is an autonomous body of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and we provide institutional support to grassroots innovators, that is innovators who are outside the formal system of research and scientific development. And we provide our support by financial support, technical support, mentoring support. We provide support for filing patents, for validation of technologies, for value addition of technologies, and social and commercial diffusion of technology. So this is broadly what we do. Now, the second thing is, I will take forward the reply of Dr. Vivek to your question. I'll just give you one example. I was there in a meeting at IIT a few years back, and we were discussing innovations. And one of the professors there, he remarked that if we are going to work on grassroots innovations, the kind of innovations, local innovations you are talking about, I will not be able to give my students a PhD. They will not be able to go for a postdoc in top universities of the world, and probably they will not have good publications. So that was a very simple statement made by him, and I think we can understand where the problem is. A lot of institutions, a lot of faculty members, a lot of scientists, they take interest in grassroots innovations, but there are a large majority who probably because of such reasons they don't take such so much of interest in promotion of grassroots innovations. Probably this is one reason. Another reason may be that when we are talking about the system of promotions in our public funded institutions, it is talking like getting publications and patents and impact factor and other thing, and the impact that is created at the ground level by any scientist or his or her work, to some extent that doesn't get reflected properly. So probably at one, I think as a policy decision somewhere down the line, we may need to think whether the impact factor that one gets through publication in reputed journals is the only impact, or the impact that a scientist can create at the ground level is also something to be measured, and metrics could be there because of which such people get inclined to work on grassroots innovations and problems. Professor Anil Gupta, in one of the Shodhyatra reports that we had in Dahod about 10 years back, he had mentioned people living in different technology time zones. So you will also realize that today we had one group from Chhattisgarh, we had one group from Nagaland, we have one group from Manipur, and in the earlier TechNeve events, we have had people from different other parts of the country. One thing, based on your experience and based on the interactions, it will be realized that it is not that everybody in the country needs rocket science. Sometimes people are lacking in basic simple technologies that can help them in their day-to-day life, that can solve their drudgery, that can solve their problems. So when we are talking about innovations, I think we need to consider this aspect as well, because there may be a number of innovations, there may be a number of technologies which are not innovative, but still they may be needed by people in different parts. For example, few years back, again I was there in one state, I will not name which state and which science and technology council. The head of the council, he asked me to let him know if there is a technology available for plucking of fruits. I'm not talking about 20 years back, I'm talking about 4 years back. Just imagine in 2016, 2017, somebody who himself is in a science and technology council asking whether you have a technology to pluck fruits. Now, that is the whole problem. There are a lot of areas where we have the most modern of technologies, and there are a lot of areas where we don't have even the simple basic technologies. So, how do we promote local innovations? So in such areas where there is a lack of technology, or where the technology we are at a traditional level or rudimentary level, what we try to do, we try to identify people who are enterprising, people who believe they can make a change, and we try to see if they are able to develop any technological solution for a particular problem in that region. or maybe in some other region, we can help and support them. That is number one. Number two, what we try to do, we try to identify technologies available elsewhere which are able to address the problem of that particular region, of that particular community, and then we try to provide that solution, like some of the examples that you showed, that the community members they mentioned today. Now, specifically coming to the topic, strengthening and nurturing the local innovation. Now, first thing is to identify the innovation. Dr. Vivek, he heads the Scouting and Documentation Department at NIF. This is the department which identifies scouts and identifies innovators from all parts of the country. To be able to support any innovation, we must first be able to locate it, identify it, and recognize it as an innovation. Many times people who are doing something of their own to solve their own problem, they don't realize that they are doing an innovation. They have done something which is not only solving their problem, but it has the potential to solve somebody else's problem as well. So that is that realization has to be there in people also. And we need linkages from all parts of the country. NIF is a small organization and we cannot be just anywhere and everywhere in the country. So through your medium, I request to all the people, all the viewers and the listeners who are following this technique program, to link the innovators that you find in your region, in your neighborhood with NIF, so that we are able to identify their work, we are able to document their work, and then see to the best extent what is possible to take it forward. That is number one. Number two, not all the projects or the innovations that come to NIF, they are at the same level. Some people, they have an idea to do something innovative. Some people, they may have made a proof of concept. Some of them may have a prototype. Some of them may have an innovative product, which they may have commercialized also. But then again, it needs some scientific inputs. So depending upon the level at which the innovation is, there are different challenges that we face, and there are different inputs that need to be given. Now, one very important thing is, and NIF in fact is supporting in prototyping and value addition also. But then there is one particular aspect which I will say is which needs support at the policy level also, at the funding also. That is probably pilot scale manufacturing and marketing. If somebody has developed say 1 or 2 units, we can give it to 1 or 2 people only. But if a product has to be refined properly, there has to be minimum critical scale at which it is produced, and then it is given to people for user feedback generation. That is one thing. Second thing is, while NIF is there, it's supporting innovators in different regions. There has to be some fund which is available at the state and district level with whichever department the government identifies. The National Innovation Council, in one of its reports, they had proposed, in fact, the 13th Finance Commission, it has proposed, implemented the District Innovation Fund to support 1 crore rupees every district to support innovation. But somehow that scheme could not take, it was not very successful. So schemes like these should be made available at the district and the state level, so that the number of innovators who are there in any particular district or state, they could be supported, or through such kind of fund, technologies which are available with institutions like NIF or maybe some CSIR institutions or maybe ICR institutions, they can be provided to the people in the districts. Because many times, due to this lack of this particular funding or linkage, such efforts they not fructify. Now, another thing is, in every state we have engineering colleges, we have management colleges. Many of our innovators, they lack technical knowledge. They lack the knowledge of marketing. They don't know how to take forward. They don't know the taxation related things. They don't know market strategy, business strategy. They have solved one problem. They have come up with innovations. So why can't the local institutions from one state be mandated to support such innovators in their region, in their state, so that at the local level, nearest point available to the innovators, they get the required mentoring support or technical support to take forward their innovations. So these were some ideas that I thought I should share. Maybe you can ask some other things.
Thank you, Dr. Maurya. I think this is like this what you're looking for from your the practical experience, and you have come out with the the local level the manufacturing like as you have told already, and also you have told about that the like the local institutions they nurturing the or supporting the local innovators. But I think the most important point, and that I will request Professor Anil Gupta to take it at the higher level also. Like I think that our total academic like the promotion process shouldn't be dependent only on the H index. If there should be a the local problem in solutions index or problem solution index, like if I have solved a problem of a local area, or if I have contributed to the problem of a local area, like I should be given some of the like index value also for my promotion. Then only like the our this this two the bridge of the science and society probably will be the bond, because otherwise this is what Dr. Maurya is telling, like this is the statement of most of the knowledge institutions, like because my students will not get into a good postdoc, and my like my the IIT value will not be there. But there is a very the minority in the IIT system, they really work towards the in the communities in spite of this type. But it's not a problem only on the IITs, the entire like our academic institution system itself. So probably like that's the one of the they take away from this technique, and we would definitely like to take it with the Ministry of the Educations, and this should be really one of the outcome of this Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav. If we really wants to make ourselves sufficient, it is not only the infrastructure, you have to change into the system. And as a result, like that's the reason like we are also focusing on, as important is an individual intervention, that important is also the the system understanding and that system strengthening, so that the individual experience can be upskill immediately. Because this is the 75 years we have suffered, that they are a very good we have very good Tendulkars, but they're really we need Team India. So, and this is one of the like we have very good success like all over this year. It is not that there are not good success stories or the individual success stories. We need really a systemic Team India success story, and which can be the like the which can be the example before the country. So I think this fifth editions of the Technique, as I was telling, like we will like the end it, wind it up. And today was a very wonderful, and the new component what we have seen into this the institutionalization is a involvement of an administrator itself, like what we have seen in Dr. Cloud, like how that like an institutional because generally like the in administrations we see them in a different role, but when the administrators look beyond their worthy and look it from their heart, you see a different model. And that model of India we can again I'm reiterating, we can offer it to the country. Last word from Professor Gupta.
Thank you very much, Maranji, and all other friends, my colleagues from NIF, Vivek, Leshram, Nitin, and Kinkini. You speak so well Hindi and English both, which is very nice. I must say that this meeting has brought several dimensions of ecosystem enrichment. One dimension which is very clear is that we need more and more agile support. Nobody should have to wait for more than a month maximum. All decisions must be made within a month. Whether you want to support somebody, you do not want to support, nothing should wait for more than a month. Every month there should be a review process so that we can ensure that given the conditions of Northeast region, anxieties, frustration, and sometimes anger, unless and until we become very agile, we will not be able to provide from science and technology perspective, at least a palliative to the situation. And I think we have a duty to do that. Secondly, we should mobilize the students and we should offer some attractive internship. Nitin mentioned that, Vivek also mentioned that. But in Northeast, we should do a massive internship program where students who work with these innovators do their documentation, look at the data collection. For example, if he has so many plantations of his of black pepper, then somebody should take a data for each plantations, see how many have survived, how many did not survive, what is the productivity, are there some good selections from which the cuttings can be then transplanted for other purposes. So that kind of support has to be given to each innovator. And NIF team is capable. We can also help in this regard from the NDP network and Gyan. And one can see how the capabilities of the innovators can be enhanced. That's very important. Finally, I would say that policies which are aimed at strengthening the hands of local innovators provide special logistical help, supply chain help. We should ensure that we talk to some of the companies which are in logistics space and try and see whether they will provide concessional terms to the innovators in this region for their market approach, for their other access thing that they are required, which is required. Last point is that there are a lot of oranges, apple, and other products which are wasted. I was in last month. I was in Western Sikkim, Gejing district, and I saw a lot of oranges being wasted. And we have not found as yet a challenge to find productive applications, productive uses. In Jammu Kashmir also, a lot of apple, unripe apple fall down because of hailstorm and unseasonal rain. Now we can get a lot of chemicals, phytochemicals out of them. So I think we should have a dedicated program for bio-waste because of various climatic factors which are causing these unseasonal rains. In Delhi, you had rain a few days back, So we should provide support to northeastern farmers who make a lot of effort, put in a lot of energy, and then they have this loss because of sudden fluctuation in the climatic conditions. So resilience of climate resilience, how do we increase by at least getting value out of the waste and generating phytochemicals? And we should have a whole program of phytochemical extraction. And Vivek is a very good scientist, and there are many other scientists that they have in NIF, and they should be able to put together a very good protocol, small, not very costly machines, which can provide cluster level support for bio-waste utilization and generating income out of that. So I thank you, Dr. Datta and Kinkini and all of you for taking this initiative. Techn is really strengthening the foundation of the science and technology connection with the communities. And this is something very nice where you have connected communities and the institutions which are working for science and technology. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. And I'm sure that with this kind of energy that I have seen today, program will get reinvented once again.
And thank you, Professor Gupta. I think the last thing, what I just want to bring it, through the Techn, we have at least been able to bring all the Ministry of Science and Technologies, all the partners together. And I believe beyond this, we should have at least the societal programs beyond the boundary of the departments. Because most of the cases, what we see, what DST is supported, DBT is almost supporting the same thing, or MOES is supporting the same thing, and it is not linked to what NIF, the good good work NIF is doing. We have to, we will put it before after this program as one of the main important, the recommendations. The societal program of the Ministry of Science and Technology should go beyond these, the boundary of this department, because there is no use. First of all, there is a very small amount we have been entrusted, and maybe in the right reasons, because our role is to bring or strengthen the welfare system through the science, the knowledge, science and technological knowledge. There we cannot waste the money by these departmental and the divisional boundaries. We must look it beyond. Probably we can have a program of this Science Society Setu around this, in the from PSA office, we're supposed to link all of us. Probably that could be what we are already discussing, and in that way, our efficiency in terms of the efficiency we must improve. And if we want to really strengthen that the linkage between the the grassroots level innovations with the mainstream or so-called of the the formal innovations, I think we must also innovate. We cannot remain the same, and we can tell others that you innovate. We must also innovate.
Correct.
Change
begins from us. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless. God bless. God bless.
All of you should stay well and safe. That's
Thank
Yeah, I was in isolation before some days, and I like.
And I'm still in isolation for another 3 days. So I fully
Great.
understand that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much.
Namaste.